Good morning, everyone, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to this session. We have a very power-packed session prepared for you. This is the agenda we have for you today. So we will start with a little bit of overview about what is analysis and geoprocessing, what are all the new tools we have with our new release, which is ArcGIS Pro 2.6. We will explore few new tools and we will see how we can leverage charts, model builders to automate your analysis and gain insights into our analysis. Finally, we will also see how we can share your analysis with others. So let's begin with analysis. Analysis transforms raw data into information or knowledge. And spatial data does this for geographic or spatial data. Sorry, spatial analysis does this for geographic or spatial data. Spatial analysis is often used to answer questions with a where component. Where is the best location for a new school? Where has the land cover changed the most in the previous years? Where are the hotspots for the accidents? To perform these spatial analysis, we need geoprocessing. Geoprocessing is a rich suite of tools and or a framework for processing this geographic data. In ArcGIS Pro, we have over 1,500 geoprocessing tools. And with the new release, which is ArcGIS Pro 2.6, we have 130 new geoprocessing tools. So today our discussions will be concentrated in this analysis tab where we can get access to a wide variety of tools. When we talk about analysis, your analysis could be two-dimensional, three-dimensional, or four-dimensional. We can include elevation and time to gain better insights into our data. We, with, with ArcGIS Pro, we have several different tool sets. For example, we have tools for performing proximity or overlay analysis, statistical analysis. We have space-time pattern mining tools to gain temporal view of all your data. While these tools are always available, you can expand your analytical capabilities using our extensions. For example, if you want to perform analysis on your point cloud data or LAS data sets, you can have a 3D analyst extension, which will give you all these different sets of tools. Similarly, you are interested in taking up a deep learning exercise or you want to do segmentation or imagery classification, you can go for an image analyst extension. Today we will concentrate on these tools and we have another session planned for all our extensions. So what is the what's new in ArcGIS Pro 2.6? We have generate origin destination links tool, which will create connecting lines from origin features to destination features. This is often referred to as spider diagrams. It helps us conduct very simple analysis like where did the person lose his vehicle and what was the location in which it was recovered. Another new tool is link analysis, which help us create link charts. These link charts allow you to create, analyze, visualize relationships between entities. Here we can have spatial and non-spatial entities that may represent people, places, events, accounts, or any other objects. We also have new time series forecasting toolset in our space-time pattern mining toolbar, where you can forecast the future values of your time series data, which is stored in a space-time cube format using three forecast methods. We have curve fit forecast, exponential smoothing forecast, and a random forest-based forecast. Similarly, we have a visibility analysis tool, which will help us to analyze what an observer can or cannot see from a given location. With just elevation as an input, we can create linear and radial line of sights. Finally, we have a very interesting addition, which is floating geoprocessing window, where you can conduct analysis simultaneously. For example, if you have a very big analysis running already, you can run several other tools like select by attribute, select by location, add join, calculate field. Those tools you can run it as a floating geoprocessing window. Now let us move to our demo directly. So this is our ArcGIS Pro interface. We will start with a simple analysis. So here in my analysis tab, I get access to this wide range of tools. I can use model builders. I can have my Python window, or we can also include RJ notebooks, Jupyter notebooks inside Pro environment. We have ready to use tools where we can get profile, view sheds, hydrology tools, network analyst tools. And from here, you can get access to all your geoprocessing toolboxes. Let us start with a simple analysis. I'm interested in finding out about what are all the power plants present in India. For this, I'm going to my portal and I'm going to access my Living Atlas, which is a repository of geographic information from around the globe. We have data on elevation for the whole world. We have soil data, hydrology data. We also provide you several imagery services. You can search for any particular data set you want in the search tab, and you can pull out the records and start doing analysis. So here I have pulled out the uh, power plant data. Now I'm interested in performing analysis for what are all the power plants present within India. For that, I can go for a simple cliff analysis, and I can get all the power plants that are present within the Indian boundary. Similarly, I can use a summarize within tool to get a summary of how many power plants are present within each state of India. We can also have option to create charts to represent your data. In our symbologies, we have options to create charts. You can have pie charts, bar charts, or stack chart to represent your analysis. So here we have created charts to show what is the generation in different years. Similarly, you can easily convert them into a bar chart, which best describes your analysis. We can also export this analysis and view it as a scene layer, where we can assign heights to each of the symbologies, which will represent the annual generation or any other aspect you want to see. Let us move to a different tool. Here I have my visibility analysis tool, which will help us identify what an observer can or cannot see. So let us say I want to move to this particular location where I have a road which is under construction. And I want to, here I have my CCTV locations, and I want to identify what is the area covered by the CCTV camera's field of view. For that, I can call this visibility analysis tool, which has option to generate both linear line of sight and radial line of sight. Here you can give the observer points as your CCTV locations directly, or you can add the locations on the fly. We also have options to give what is the height of the observer, what is the distance you want to do the analysis for, or if you have any information about the field of view, we can include that as well. So here I've already run two analysis to show how the output will look like. So here the green patches represent the locations or area of land that is visible for this observer. This is the radial line of sight for observer at a 2-meter height, and this is for a 5-meter height. This type of simple analysis help us to optimize our locations for CCTV. You can optimize the location to locate your forest watchtowers, or it also has several defense applications. Now let us move to the map exploration part. So here I have my Revit model, which is a building information model. ArcGIS Pro now supports Revit files. If you have your BIM data in Revit file, you can drag and drop those directly onto our ArcGIS Pro and start doing analysis. We also have tools for 3D exploratory analysis, where you can create cut and fill analysis. We have options to perform line of sight and view shed and all this analysis. Let us perform a very small slicing. With this tool, you can slice through your 3D model and see what lies within. This type of analysis will help us to see what lies within your building information models. Let me just clear this and we will go to another navigation point. So with this RJS Pro 2.6, we have a first person navigation option where you can explore your models just like how you do it in a video games. It's very easy and you will get a first person point of view in while navigating. This type of navigation is very useful, especially in the indoor navigation applications. Next, we will go to little bit difficult analysis like census analysis. Here I have my Tamil Nadu census data for the year 2011. And we all know that in order to perform geographic analysis, we need to join our tables to our shapefiles. For example, here I have my Tamil Nadu district boundary and I have joined these two using a common field. Once we have joined our data, we can visualize what lies within the data using just with our symbology options. For example, here I have used bivariate symbologies in which you can visualize two aspects at the same time. So here I have, in my first field, I have used total number of females, and in my second field, I have used female literacy. So this maps gives me an idea about the locations where the female population is low and also female literates are low. These purple patches show me the districts where both the components are very high. So this gives us an understanding about how to two concepts occur at the same time. Similarly, I can do this for, like if I have a prediction analysis, I also have p-value for my analysis. I can see side by side what is the prediction and what is the significance of that prediction. Similarly, we can have options to view different charts. Here you can just create chart and we have bar charts, line charts, histograms, etc. With easily we can create charts about the analysis you would like to see. For example, this is a chart of relationship between female illiteracy and work status. If you would like to see the your equations R square value, we can add it here directly. Similarly, we can have a histogram distribution of your data. Here I have tried to show the distribution of total working population. Here you can select and deselect whichever components you would like to see. Similarly, we can also have box plots like this. If you're interested, we can also create charts for scatter plot matrix where we can see multiple components at the same time.
Saranya, there is a lot of mic disturbance which is coming in, I believe initially. Can you just fix that?
Sir, is it okay now?
There is slight still a lag, but anyhow, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so thank you. So I can also have scatter plot matrix like this to gain understanding about what are how the different components change. So these type of analysis can be done very easily with charts. These charts help us to uncover patterns, trends, relationships, and structures that may be otherwise difficult to see as just raw numbers in a table. Next, we will go to a very simple analysis, which is cell phone analysis. Investigators try to gain information about a particular person or gather information about a particular person. It could be a victim or a suspect based on their cell phone records. By mapping these cell phone records, investigators may be able to understand how these individuals move about their daily routine. Here, we have a new tool set called Crime Analysis and Safety Tools. So with our new crime analysis and safety tools, we can bring the cell phone records, cell phone tower records directly into our ArcGIS Pro. So here I have my sectors and tower locations. Sectors are the regions where the signal is transmitted and received. And here I have the cell phone records of two persons. I can directly call their records here and visualize. As we were saying, a cell phone record about of the person says very much about how they move about their daily life. For example, the darker sector represents the high volume of calls. So this particular person has high volume of calls in this part and this sector, which could mean that this could be the location where his home is, or this could be his workplace. Similarly, if we want to understand like why were there unusual activities in other locations which were not his home or workplace, there we can try to uh, find out, is that location very close to a crime location. This type of simple analysis will give you a much better understanding of a particular person's behavior just by using their cell phone records. Now let us move to another aspect of our analysis, which is model builder. Model builder strings together multiple geoprocessing tools using output of one tool as the input to the other tool. It saves time on repetitive tasks, minimize errors, and iterate on your analysis more efficiently. For example, here I have a model for site suitability. Here we have tried to identify wildlife migration corridors using suitability model and cost connectivity concepts. Wild animals need room to roam, and mountains of Western Ghats provide the space it needs to hunt and breed. In this demo, let us find out how to find the suitable wildlife corridors. So, as with any suitability analysis, I need my raster layers as input. So, here I have my roads. I've tried to create buffer around my roads and convert them into a raster file. I also have my elevation data. Even though we have elevation data, I would like to get the information about the ruggedness of this terrain. For this workflow, ruggedness will be defined by large and dramatic shifts in the elevation. So this I can get by using a tool called focal statistic geoprocessing tool, which compares the cell value in the raster layer with the cells that surround it. So here the dark pixels represent less changes in elevation, while the lighter pixels represent more. So I also have my land cover layer. I have reclassified these data sets from values of 1 to 3 so that I can create a weighted sum layer. So in this model, I have brought down all these concepts, and I also have a weighted sum layer. This is where I give weightages to all the inputs. So once I run this model, I get an output like this, representing the suitability of each of the area. And with cost connectivity tool, we can find out what is the least cost path for connecting the land parcels. So we have our protected area polygons here. And with this tool, we can create a particular wildlife corridor, which will help us to identify the location that needs to be protected in order to prevent human wildlife conflicts. I will show you how quickly we can create a model. With ArcGIS Pro, you can drag and drop tools from your history directly. For example, here we have our multiple ring buffers and all the tools I have run already to create this analysis. By dragging and dropping the successfully run tools, we can recreate the whole model, and you can share this model with others. And now we have the complete model recreated. Now, if you want to share this analysis with others, you can do so very easily. You can either save your model as, you can export your model as a Python file, or you can share it as a web tool or geoprocessing package. Next, we will move to some of the COVID applications we have been doing. As you all know, GIS has been in the forefront to help all our frontline and healthcare workers to battle COVID-19. By now, you must be aware of what is contact tracing. The, Traditionally, contact tracing is done using Excel sheets like this, where we identify the patients and we try to find out who they came in contact with and who uh, the person in these 20 people came in contact with. So we have 112 people who came in contact with the previous one, so on and so forth. Let us try to bring this data into our GIS platform. So here I have my 0 patients, the 3 patients you saw in the Excel sheet initially. Here the number inside the symbology represents the degree of separation, and the the red symbology represents the person has tested positive, and the gray symbology represents the patient is not tested positive as on now. Similarly, we have degree 2 and degree 3 patients. Now let us create a link chart to show how these people are linked together. So here I have created my link chart. To get a clearer understanding, I will just change the outlook from hierarchy. I will change the hierarchy here. So now if you zoom in here, you will see, so this is our patient 0. So here we have our patient 0, and Vasan came in contact with Cynthia and Vijay came in contact with Vignesh, Christy, and Ajit, so on and so forth. Let us um, let us go to this particular person, Manishankar. He's tested positive, but he does not have any positive link before him. For example, the degree 2 is not positive, degree 1 is not positive. So what happened there? So we will try to find answers for this with a community contact link chart. Let me just call only those 3 patients, those 5 patients who have unusual connections like this. So traditionally, it has been a person-to-person tracing. Now with GIS, we can take this to the next step by bringing the spatial component to it. Now I can easily map the places where all these people visited to just see if is there any particular commonalities between them. So this type of tracing is called as community contact tracing. Now, if you see, you can identify the location that is common to all these 5. I can display the links to find out all these 5 people visited this particular location. So such type of analysis will help us to see beyond person to person contact. We are trying to identify if there are any persons we have missed tracing, and is there any community transmission. In addition to contact tracing, SG has also been very interested in forecasting the COVID cases. As I mentioned earlier, we have space-time pattern mining toolboxes. Here we have come up with a new forecasting tool where you can, if you have your data, time series data in a space-time cube format, you can create forecasts with any of these 3 methods. And if you're not sure which method you would like to use, don't worry. We also have a tool which will run all the tools for you and give you which is the best tool for your analysis. So here I have already run the model to save time. Here the output of the model lies in the pop-ups. Here if you drag this one, you can see these blue data or the collected data or the original values, and the orange ones are the forecasted values. So I can, for every state, we have forecasts now. Similarly, we can go for exponential smoothing forecast, which will give you In addition to the original fitted and forecasted value, you can also have the confidence interval for your predictions. We can also go for a random forest based forecast to gain the same analysis. The issue is you cannot fit the same curve for a whole country because each district has its own behavior in which the disease is spreading. Each state has a different behavior. In such cases, we can use the evaluate forecast by location tool, which will help us to identify which model fits better where. For example, here the dark blue states represent exponential curve fits there better. This model uses RMSE values to find out which forecast method suits best. So we have all these information in our trend. What is the interval, low interval, what are all the RMSE errors. All these concepts are taken into consideration before deciding which model is right for you. Similarly, if you have your COVID data district wise, you can use the same concepts to find the unique model to help your particular district. So this is an example where we have done with the uh, confirmed cases, which is how many cases are reported each day. The same type of analysis can be used to forecast the cumulative increase. For example, here we from April we have tried to forecast what is the cumulative increase in the number of cases. That here also we have tried to find out which model suits better in order to find the number of cases each day. So, in addition to this, we have several other tools. The same time series forecasting concepts can be used in several other applications as well. For example, here I have my road segment and I have the uh, location of accidents that happened between 2010 and 2015. I can use the same time series forecasting tool to forecast what would be the accident. We can predict the accidents that could happen. We can also visualize these models in a 3D scene, which help us understand how the accidents are going to increase with time. If necessary, we can also add a time series chart to it to give us a better understanding. So these are some of the examples of time series forecasting. Similarly, I would like to show you another model we have built for hydrology use case. Here we have elevation data. From elevation data, when we are trying to delineate a watershed or catchment area, we used to use several geoprocessing tools. For example, first we will fill the sinks. Next, we will try to find out the flow direction, flow accumulation, what is the stream length, catchment area, drainage line, and drainage point. So to perform this analysis, we have to run all these tools. Uh, just like we did for our site suitability and connectivity, we can drag and drop these tools and connect them on the fly and share our analysis with others. So here we have with just this blue components represent our input. As you can see, with just elevation as input, we are trying to find out the drainage lines and drain. So here I can visualize my output in 3D scenes, which will help us understand how the drainage points and drainage locations are moving with our elevation. Okay. As we were saying, you can share once a tool is run successfully, you can share the tool as a geoprocessing package, which means that all the tools, environments, settings, input data you have used for your analysis will be packaged as a .gpkx file, which you can share it with everyone else. This package will have all the input and other settings essential. So when the other person runs the data, he will be able to use the same data and recreate the same results. If necessary, he may also add his own data sets to create the outputs. Similarly, you can also share it as a web tool. For example, if you have your own enterprise portal, you can publish this tool to your portal and the tool can be run in the server. So multiple people who are connected to your server will be able to run this tool. We will move to the next component, which is chime modeling. By now, we are all aware of flattening the curve. We have all heard about why it is necessary for flattening the curve, what are all the aspects that come into uh, deciding what happens with every different interventions we go for. The idea is by taking the steps to slow the spread of COVID-19, virus transmission will decelerate, the burden on hospitals will be reduced, and fewer people will contract the disease. The visualization of these concepts will help us to design our policies around social distancing and other interventions to slow the spread. Understanding what these curves actually look like in a certain location based on current and historic disease and hospitalization patterns, potential interventions is possible using epidemiological modeling. Uh, One such epidemiological modeling is CHIME modeling, which is COVID-19 hospital impact model for epidemics. Using this model, we can identify what the load will be on hospitals. For example, here we can have daily admission projections. How many new hospitalizations will be there? How many new ICU admissions are there? How many people will be requiring ventilators? Similarly, we can have projections for how the susceptible people are going to decrease and how will the recovery be and how the infected patients will increase and fall with time. Now, you can download this tool from our COVID-19 ArcGIS hub. And with this toolbox, we have two tools. And with this search tool, we can identify what is the load on the hospitals. For example, you can give your inputs and you can give data about your population, number of cases, if you have information about your particular hospital resources. For example, how many beds are unoccupied, how many ventilators are there, what is the proposed hospital stays, what are all the interventions we are planning, so on and so forth. The idea is to model these outputs with different inputs. For example, what is the load on hospitals if social distancing was practiced at 50%? What is the load if the social distancing is reduced? Such type of comparisons help us to understand and plan in advance for all the increase in the hospital cases. So similarly, as I said, you can share the analysis with others as a geoprocessing package, web tool or geoprocessing service if you have a portal connection or server connection. You can also share your analysis as ArcGIS notebooks where you can run your Python or Jupyter notebook code directly and you can share it with others. And geoprocessing history entry is a very important addition to ArcGIS Pro, which from where you can drag and drop all the tools and run your analysis. We also have this share ribbon tab from where you can share your geoprocessing, you can package your projects, you can share your web tools also. Similarly, if you have already published a web tool, you can overwrite the tool with a new one. join our next webinar also. As you all showed interest in Arc Hydro, we have a add-in session also on September 16th, where we will explore several uh, Arc Hydro tools, like how we can delineate watersheds and how we can create all the drainage lines, as we saw today, using several other Arc Hydro tools. And we also have a very new tool called Suitability Modeler, where without any modeling, you can directly run the tools and you can assign weights on the fly. We will discuss all these aspects in our upcoming webinar. Please do attend that also. And thank you so much. Thank you.